Welcome to New Wave Global. I'm Rabia Mehmood. New Wave is an independent news site which looks at the world through a South Asian lens and relies heavily on your feedback. Please do subscribe, like, comment, and engage with our work. In a surprising turn of events, Pakistan military has taken the ex-ISI Chief General Faiz Hameed into custody and initiated court-martial proceedings against him over a real estate corruption case. He served as the DGISI from 2019 till October 2021 and is infamous for overseeing one of the darkest eras of repression in the country. He's also known as an ally of the former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who is currently imprisoned. To speak more about this, we are joined today by Raza Rumi, who is the editor-at-large of New Wave Global and Naya Daur Media. Raza, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Raza, as far as the Pakistani commentariat and netizens are concerned, we are seeing a divided house. There are people who are skeptical, some are overjoyed, some are saying that this is just for a show and the real target is someone else, that is Imran Khan. But Khan has just distanced himself from what is happening and called it an internal matter. I was just looking at the recent news. Why do you think this arrest has been taken place now? And what exactly is the significance of it?
Thank you, Rabia, for the introduction and packed series of questions. So I'll try and respond to them one by one. So General Faiz Hameed, the almighty head of the Inter-Services Intelligence, which is Pakistan's most powerful intelligence agency, known globally for its outreach, for its footprint, for its power, especially over the last 2 decades, because it had a very major role in the war on terror. So I guess everybody in the Western world knows about it. Everybody in India knows about the ISI. And the reality is that ISI is also a major political tool for any government in Pakistan, whether it's a civilian government or the military government. It pursues a particular political agenda, which it is not supposed to, according to the law. So when something happens with regard to ISI, especially the arrest of its former boss, obviously it's like a major shock and a major headline. So why has it happened now? Well, General Faiz Hameed, as you rightly said in the introduction, was known to be an ally and very close to the former Prime Minister Imran Khan. But then, obviously, he was also acting under the leadership or command of the former Army Chief General Bajwa, who ruled Pakistan for 6 years. I mean, he was head of the military, but in Pakistan, the military chiefs are the real rulers. All else are secondary or have less powers than them. So both General Bajwa and General Faiz played a monumental role in setting up a new political dispensation headed by Imran Khan, bringing him to power, sustaining his power, lining up things for him until they fell out with him somewhere in 2021, 2022. And since then, Imran Khan was out of power and became more popular, became a challenge for the military, became a challenge for his opponents. And it was rumored that General Faiz Hameed was the man behind Imran Khan's political strategy. Now, this is a rumor. I'm not saying it is true or not, because these things are very difficult to prove. However,
is it a mere rumor?
Yeah, so the thing is, what informed circles in Islamabad, Pakistan's capital, and elsewhere say that General Faiz was a very effective DG of ISI, head of ISI, effective in the sense that he could achieve the objectives of the intelligence agency in domestic politics really effectively, and he had built a whole network within the institution, outside the institution, in the political elites, in media, and in other parts. And that was something that the current army chief, General Asim Munir, was trying to investigate and look at. So now, ostensibly, he has been, General Faiz Hameed has been arrested for corruption charges because he tried to bully and blackmail and coerce a housing society owner, allegedly, in 2017 or sometime back. and the news at that time was suppressed because he was the boss, he was in power. But then later on, this issue continued, and the Supreme Court of Pakistan ordered Pakistan Army to hold an investigation, which it started doing. And in August, they determined that there were enough substance in the allegations. But then the press release of the military says that, in addition to this alleged act of corruption, he was involved in political activities. Now, the rules say, the Army Act says that generals, once they leave the army, are not supposed to engage in politics for 2 years because they can influence people, they can have extraordinary, abnormal influence over political events because of their positions of power earlier. So this is, it's a standard rule everywhere in the world. You're not supposed to, bureaucrats and military bureaucrats just don't join politics. But in this case, there was some covert politicking going on in the favor of Imran Khan, as many informed people tell us, and that General Asim Munir, the incumbent army chief, was also allegedly being destabilized within the system and within the political arena. And interestingly, Rabia, I know I've given you a very long answer, but let me also add one more personal dynamic. So General Asim Munir, his appointment in 2022 November came out of the blue because he was not even in the run, and he was picked up by the then government, and it was a surprise appointment. And General Faiz was one of the contenders as the for the appointment of army chief. So before that appointment, Imran Khan started a long march to block General Asim Munir being elevated to this position. And then once that did not succeed, Imran Khan himself was attacked en route to Islamabad when he was leading a long march, people's mobilization to stop this. Later on, when Asim Munir was appointed, General Faiz resigned immediately. He said that, it is rumor, it is reported that he said he's not going to salute him as his chief. Now, this is also a very personal dynamic. And since then, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, the party of Imran Khan, former cricketer turned politician, has been constantly, targeting General Asim Munir, the current army chief, as somebody who's not been appointed legitimately. They say his appointment was wrong, it was illegal, and General Asim Munir has also been very, very stern, to say the least, with Imran Khan and his party. So, there have been crackdowns on this party, and General Asim Munir is blamed by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and its followers, who are in thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions in Pakistan and abroad, and he's like the target. So it is also said that General Faiz was behind, this is the allegation,
Yes, he
behind.
was running the show.
Yeah. So General Asim Munir, who leads the Pakistan Army, has also asserted himself by taking this extraordinary step. Because, Rabia, we should remember that in Pakistan, no DGISI has been picked, let alone being investigated. They have been investigated by civilian courts. There was a case by the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Nothing came out of it. They are never touched. They are untouchables. Remember the film in Hollywood called The Untouchables? So it applies to the ISI officials.
ISI, definitely. So the generals, if they have been in the past, it's always been or mostly been an espionage issue,
Yeah,
right? So this
yeah.
is also something else. It's the first DGISI, and it's also a general, but it's also the fact that he has been is going to be interrogated or investigated on corruption charges and other things. So you've given a long answer, definitely, but there are some things to unpack here. First, let's stick to the political side of it, and then we'll get to what my other main question is. So everyone is saying that this is a message to the Supreme Court. because let's stick to how things are analyzed and spoken about in Pakistan, and the fact that this is an establishment issue. These are different factions of the establishment fighting with each other. And this is why um, Faiz Hameed has been arrested, right? And now we see a reaction of the same. I'm kind of like going back to my first question, that there is a divide among people, right? Even people who have always wanted accountability for the military or the ISI, right? And now we have a former DG ISI who has been taken into custody in courts, right? Because people are like, oh, is he going to be treated as, how civilian prime ministers have been treated, like how Nawaz Sharif was treated, or how Imran Khan is being treated, right? Is he going to be put behind bars somewhere? So all of these questions. And there's a lot of skepticism
Hmm.
amongst people, right? People like you and I, people who are activists, people who are from communities affected by the policies of the Pakistani military establishment, right? So how do you see that? People are taking it, some are taking it, despite this being very unprecedented, they're taking it in a very superficial manner, and they're not taking it seriously. They do not believe that he's going to be investigated in a way that it'll lead to any accountability, although this has been a talking point for so many years, for the intelligentsia, for the journalist communities, for the civil society, that there's never been any accountability for a Supreme Court judge, or uh, or the military or the ISI in that way. So what do you have to
Yes.
say about that?
Yeah, so Rabia, as you know, Pakistan is terribly polarized. Its political space, um, its political loyalties, and that state of polarization has also affected not just the people but institutions of the state. So this whole thing in the military that we are seeing, General Asim Munir versus his opponents, is also reflective of that polarization, and why some are opposed to General Faiz's in interrogation and arrest is generally people who are affiliated with Imran Khan and his party. They feel that, this was their staunch ally and, a kind of an insider into the system because the PTI now wants to come back to power. They also won major victories in the last election in February, and they feel that they've been kept out of power through coercion and they feel cheated. So, in a way, figures like General Faiz and others, and many ex-servicemen, who support Imran Khan, are seen as conduits to bring Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf and Imran Khan back into power. Now, with General Faiz gone and more inquiries to follow, it means that the polarization within the system is getting tilted in favor of General Asim Munir, who is now using all the powers at his command to fix, quote unquote, his opponents within the system. So people are reacting to that, and I think it is a good, if the military is serious. I mean, I don't know what they do about this case, if it's just political. If they're serious, this is a good beginning for internal accountability because we've had ISI chiefs and other generals who have acted with impunity, whether it comes to political engineering, human rights abuses, curbing media freedoms, including General Faiz. He's been targeted for this housing society. Honestly speaking, almost every elite Pakistani is involved in some kind of shady deals or stuff like that. General Faiz should be questioned about how he muzzled the media, including our own digital platforms under his watch when twice our website was taken down, our YouTube channel was its live streaming was stopped, our junior video editor was picked up in Lahore, taken
This
to a
was, sorry, this was 2018 and 19, right?
this was 19, 20, 21. It continued. you know?
I think Naya Daur at sorry, I have cut you, but I want to come in. Like this in 2018 was the first time when something was the website was suspended for the first time.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
want to add that yes, he was the DG ISI 2019 to 2021, sometimes around October, but he was the DGC from 2017 to 2009, General Faiz, and he was the
Number two.
he was the yes, he was the DGC of the counterintelligence wing, and it was being said that he was essentially running. I mean, this is how the conversation used to go, that it's this guy called General Faiz Hameed who was running the show when it came to muzzling of dissent, targeting of the media. Because I mean, we're not exaggerating. There has always been censorship in Pakistan. There have always been red tapes, but if you look at the data, it was one of the most repressive eras in mainstream and also online that we have seen in the country when it comes to freedom of expression and freedom of press, right? 2017 onwards, I mean, General Kamar Javed Bajwa, the chief of army staff, was in power from 2016 onwards. And then we started seeing bloggers getting disappeared, journalists getting disappeared, getting arrested very rampantly, and activists in rest of the country. And we saw a lot extreme surveillance. I don't want to like give a rundown, but Naya Daur, I wanted to also ask you, it's not just Naya Daur, you were also at the Daily Times at one point, and I remember in 2017-18 how things were for you, right? And we used to hear that there were people sitting in newsrooms or in like the output sections or the input sections of different media who were there to beep out things when you would take names of people who you were not allowed to report on. So can you also just walk us a bit through
No,
that?
so yeah, I was editor of the Daily Times, and it was a very controlled environment, especially in 2018 elections,
Yeah.
when we were, when we were coerced and browbeaten into not to report anything that challenged the official line, which was to bring down the government of Nawaz Sharif and rig and PMLN and rig the elections in favor of Imran Khan. And any story that was critical of this or which highlighted the moves by the deep state for political engineering got us into trouble. And that era was but of course, Daily Times was not shut down. I gave the examples of the Nayador website because twice it was shut down in this time
Hmm.
period. And similarly, our YouTube channel was also, its live streaming was stopped on basis of some complaint by a random company in Pakistan, which cited some kind of violations. And then later on, we found out that it was done at the behest of the deep state. And I think that is something we need to highlight. Other than our cases, Absar Alam was shot. Asad Tur was, beaten in his house. Matiullah Jan was picked up. There were all these
He
different
was,
cases
yeah,
of
weird.
coercion and censorship. And I think it should be highlighted. But then also what happened to other political leaders. I mean, this was, and not to forget the current Chief Justice of Pakistan, who was also targeted in a trumped-up corruption case for 2 years. That was also done by this General Faiz Hameed, who's under investigation now. So, I mean, the real reasons to interrogate him are not there, because that is something maybe the military, because then his boss would come into the public purview. So they are targeting more him for his recent activities after retirement, and that is what they want to investigate. How far are those allegations true or not?
True, true. And those policies, because the policies are still there.
Yeah, those policies are still there. I would say that, now the tables have turned. So earlier it was PMLN and others, now it's the PTI. So the PTI workers, their leader Imran Khan is incarcerated. There's so hundreds of political workers still in jails of the PTI for, and their trials are not proceeding. There are almost 100 people who the military wants to try them in the military courts for the May 9th in what they call insurrection. Now, that is another reason why General Faiz has been named as
Hmm.
a potential or a alleged instigator of the May 9th, 2023 events when the workers and supporters of Imran Khan burnt the house of a military commander in Lahore and attacked other military demonstrated and then later attacked many military installations across the country. So the army thinks that General Faiz had something to do with that, either in terms of planning or suggesting or strategizing, etc. Now, obviously, it's going to be very difficult to prove these allegations. What perhaps the army is hoping is that he might say something about Imran Khan, give some kind of a testimony which will allow the military to conduct a trial of Imran Khan in an army court. Now, that is perhaps many analysts are saying the real end game of this saga. Whether this happens or not, how far will they succeed? Well, time will tell, but certainly it is good. They're going to try and get him to speak against Imran Khan.
Yeah, and also, so the saga, this is the right word for it from what's unfolding. But I also slightly want to get back to, because this is an opportunity to speak about what all was done in the past, like 6, 7 years, and the repercussions of it. Like you've rightly, given a bit of a picture of what happened to the media. We've been seeing, father of human rights defender Gulala Ismail, who's in exile in the US, saying, and who was witch hunted. It's a very well documented case that Faiz Hameed was responsible for what happened to that family. We've seen various journalists, various activists like Amar Ali Jan speaking of their arrests, the raids and their houses, and saying that the orders came from above. Well, I think it's crucial to mention it, Tehreek Labbaik Pakistan, who is a sectarian, far-right Islamist political party. And Faiz Hameed is also known as the architect of Project TLP.
Yeah.
And that party, which kind of sort of does politics around the issue of blasphemy and has proven to be, data proves it to be extremely destructive to not just to the lives of Pakistani minorities, but has brought forward so much of extremism in society and has organized violence against, religious minorities and others, is also someone who uh, orchestrated that project to impact how people voted for PMLN or would vote for PTI in the run up to the general election in 2018. Can you also speak to us about the sort of what that means, because we are not going to see any accountability for creating projects like
Oh,
TLP.
you rightly mentioned this particular angle, this new large kid, this new dangerous kid on the block, this major sectarian network. It was not formally organized or mobilized before this particular general, following the policy of creating, a religious body opposed to the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his party. And that is unfortunately another big folly and blunder, which I think in years to come will be paid heavily by the people of Pakistan and by the state itself. Because what is happening here is the fact that, the ISI and the military have followed these reckless policies of launching religious extremists and fanning them and supporting them and giving them money, giving them power to control politics. And now that genie's out of the bottle, it won't go back into the bottle. But the problem is that General Faiz Hameed will most likely not be interrogated for that, even though a Supreme Court judgment by the current Chief Justice stands, which calls for disciplinary action against General Faiz Hameed and his colleagues who signed agreements with this force, who brought them to Islamabad to bring the capital city to a standstill. It's not going to happen. And I think we should be demanding that instead of his relationship with Imran Khan or not. That's a temporary thing for the current army chief and his associates. What is more important is the role of intelligence agencies, how they play politics, how they fan extremism, and how they have used religious extremists as foreign policy goals. Even another charge that has surfaced, at least on social media, is that General Faiz Hameed was also instrumental after the US exit from Afghanistan into relocating the militants of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the Pakistani branch of the Taliban, into Pakistan. And they have been attacking Pakistan's army, Pakistan's state, constantly for the last 2, 3 years. And I read an article this morning which said that he was allegedly also in touch with the TTP, and it is the same TTP which is attacking Pakistan Army.
Yes.
So now I don't know it's true or not. I mean, of course, these charges are also sometimes made up and posed as really serious ones to justify this kind of treatment of a former senior general. But if it's true, even 5% true, then certainly this is a very worrying trend that an ambitious retired general can play havoc with the country, with the political system, with its borders, just for his
Yes.
personal ambition and political affiliations.
Raza, thank you for speaking with us. It was also sort of like a walk down the memory lane. We had this, if anyone wants to see what exactly General Faz had done as the DG ISI and the DGC 2017 onwards, they can watch this. This is a good summary, this discussion. Thanks to our viewers for watching. Khuda Hafiz.
Khud Hafiz.